Once upon a time, in a small village by a peaceful river, there was a little boy named Ollie who loved to explore the world around him. He wasn't alone on his adventures. He had a constant companion, a fluffy cat named Whiskers. Whiskers wasn't like other cats. She had a way of looking at Ollie as if she understood every word he said, even though he was sure she didn't speak human. Every morning, Ollie and Whiskers would wake up with the sun. Ollie would tie his sneakers, grab his little backpack, and Whiskers would follow closely, her paws silent against the ground. Together, they would wander the meadows, climb trees, and make up stories about faraway lands. Whiskers always stayed close to Ollie, as though she knew his world was better with her beside him. One afternoon, as the sky began to blush with the colors of sunset, Ollie sat by the river, tossing pebbles into the water. Whiskers lay beside him, her tail flicking lazily. They were content in the silence, their bond stronger than words. But suddenly, Whiskers stood up and padded toward the trees, her tail raised. She stopped and looked back at Ollie, her eyes shining. "Whiskers, where are you going?" Ollie asked, furrowing his brow. She meowed softly, almost as if saying goodbye, and then disappeared into the woods. Ollie felt a strange tug in his chest, but he shrugged it off, thinking Whiskers was just exploring, like she always did. The evening grew darker, and Ollie began calling for her, his voice echoing through the trees. But Whiskers didn't come. Panic settled in his stomach as he searched the woods, calling her name over and over, his heart beating faster with each passing minute. It wasn't long before Ollie found Whiskers, sitting at the edge of a small clearing. She wasn't looking at him with her usual playful spark. Instead, she seemed calm, almost peaceful. Ollie rushed to her side, kneeling down. "Whiskers, what's wrong?" The cat blinked slowly and, without a sound, nuzzled Ollie's hand. He could feel her warmth, but there was something different about the moment. A sense of finality lingered in the air, like the quiet before a storm. Ollie didn't understand. "Please, Whiskers, don't go." But Whiskers just gave him one last, gentle look before turning and slipping into the shadows of the forest, disappearing from sight. Ollie sat there frozen, for what felt like hours, his heart heavy. The next day, Ollie returned to the clearing, hopeful, but Whiskers didn't come. He walked the meadows, calling her name, until his voice cracked and the sun began to set again. He couldn't understand why she had gone, or where she had gone. It was as if she had simply followed a path he couldn't see. One morning, years later, when Ollie had grown taller and his shoes no longer fit just right, he walked to the river, now a place he visited to think. And there, on the bank, he spotted a cat. Her fur was not as fluffy as it used to be, but her eyes, those bright, knowing eyes, were unmistakable. Whiskers had returned, though not in the way Ollie had imagined. She sat on the riverbank, watching him with the same familiar gaze. Ollie smiled softly, the ache in his chest lifting for the first time in ages. He walked over to her, knelt down, and reached out his hand. And Whiskers, wise and kind as ever, rubbed her head against his fingers, as if to say, "I've always been here." And with that, Ollie understood. Some bonds, no matter how far they stretch or how many years pass, never truly fade.